This episode is proudly sponsored by HASA, the trusted choice for liquid chlorine. It's better because it offers the highest purity, works instantly, and contains no added CYA. By the bottom feeder, professional-grade battery-powered swimming pool vacuum system, it sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off the bottom feeder with code DVB100. Skimmer, trusted by over 30,000 pool service professionals across North America. Skimmer software helps you save time, grow revenue, and boost your 5-star reviews. Whether you're just starting out or expanding your team, Skimmer's easy-to-use tools and expert support have you covered. Upgrade your business in 2025 with Skimmer. Try Skimmer for 30 days for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, and welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to spotlight the Polaris MAXX and ATLAS suction side pool cleaners. I'll give you my opinion on these cleaners and if you should upgrade to this particular cleaner or sell this particular cleaner to your clients. And I'll give you a little hint here of where this podcast is going. These are probably the top suction cleaners that I would recommend. Join my coaching program and take your pool service to the next level. Connect with other pool pros in your area, gain valuable knowledge, and transform your business with personalized one-on-one advice from me. With over 36 years of experience, I'm here to help you succeed like never before. Learn more at poolguycoaching.com. So I don't say this lightly when I say these are probably the top cleaners on the market today. I've been cleaning pools since 1988 when I was 15 and a half years old, and I've seen the early renditions of suction cleaners. Of course, the white creepy crawly, the Hayward Navigator. Polaris even had a suction cleaner. If you remember this cleaner, it had 3 wheels and it looked almost like their regular Polaris, but it was a suction side cleaner that was really ineffective. And that's probably the last suction side cleaner that Polaris actually put their name on. And this was, of course, over 30 years ago. There are actually 3 models of this cleaner. There's the Polaris ATLAS XT, which is the one that you're familiar with and I filmed for my YouTube channel. This has the locking hoses. There's the Polaris MAXX that's sold exclusively at Leslie's Pool Supply. It's the white unit. Also has the locking hoses. And there's the Polaris ATLAS by itself without the XT. Everyone calls it the Polaris ATLAS, but there's actually 2 different models of the ATLAS. But the Polaris ATLAS without the XT actually has what they call friction hoses, which are universal hoses. You're familiar with these hoses. They're on all the other cleaners, the Navigator, the Pool Cleaner, the Creepy Crawly. These are the hoses that don't lock. These are what pool pros actually prefer, and I think the consumers probably prefer these hoses as well, but I guess maybe Fluidra had a gazillion of the locking hoses, so they came out with this model with the same locking hoses. Now, one thing to note, this is based heavily on the Zodiac MX8 Elite Cleaner. It's the same company, so to kind of just cut through some of the mystery here, Polaris, Zodiac, Fluidra, Jandy. Actually, Fluidra is the parent company, and technically it's actually Zodiac Pool Supplies. It's Zodiac Pool Products is still the name that's registered under all these things. It's super confusing, but just note that Polaris and Zodiac are the same company, and so of course they're going to take heavily from the MX8 Elite Cleaner, which is a great cleaner. However, there was I don't know if I would call it a defect. I don't want to say something that's really not true, but there was an operational issue with the I'm going to get confused here with all these names. The Zodiac MX8 Elite with the way the engine is designed. So basically, the way the engine is designed, and it works effectively, don't get me wrong, this is a really effective cleaner. But if you have any debris that's skinny and string-like, it would twist itself around the engine in the Zodiac MX8, MX8 Elite, MX6, and stop the cleaner. Because that's just kind of how it was designed. It was designed to be highly effective with small debris, but unfortunately ineffective with larger string-like debris. Now, the Polaris ATLAS and the MAXX cleaner do not have this problem because it has a new Halo engine which eliminates this problem entirely. Now, there is one slight drawback with the new engine in these cleaners is that if you have a PebbleTech pool and it's a brand new PebbleTech pool and they just finished it and there may be some loose pebbles around, it can get jammed in the engine and stop the cleaner. So string-like debris does not stop the Atlas and Max, but a pebble stuck in the engine may stop it. It's not a big deal. It doesn't happen very often. It has to be a certain size kind of pebble that gets in there. Larger ones don't have any effect on it. It's just got to be small enough to get right on the side of the intake of the cleaner and right on the side of the engine to stop it. Again, not a huge problem. There is no perfect suction side cleaner that's not going to get clogged up or stopped by some type of debris. So these are based on the Zodiac MX8, so that's a really good cleaner. I like a few things I'll highlight on this cleaner that's very similar to those cleaners is the wall climbing ability and the scrubbing ability. So there's scrubbing brushes on the bottom. In fact, they have these turbines on the bottom that actually move the cleaner, and some genius over there at Floridra decided to put these little brushes on the bottom, which is super smart because they're already spinning and the brushes just act as a scrubbing mechanism, and it'll scrub off, it actually will scrub off algae if it's not, really hard algae with chlorine being zeroed out for a long time from the wall. It'll of course scrub off the dirt. And I like the fact that if you have the right suction setting in your pool pump, this will actually clean the pool walls up to the water line. Now, unlike the Penta Rebel, where it will come up to the water line and then suck air, and then the old pool cleaners had this problem, the old Pulvernugan pool cleaners, it would come up and suck air at the surface. Not only will this cause the pump to lose its prime, the cleaner will fall back down to the bottom, but that noise it makes when it sucks air at the top of the water line is loud enough to hear from the front of the house, from the neighbor's house. I've had many customers where the neighbor calls and complains saying, the neighbor calls them and says the pool is making really loud noises if they can stop it. And that's because the suction cleaner comes out, the throat of the suction cleaner sucks in some air, causing that cleaner to make that noise and drop down to the bottom and causing the pump to lose its prime. Well, interesting enough, this particular cleaner, the Atlas and Max, are designed to clean up to the water line, but since the throat, and I don't know if this was designed, I'm sure it was designed this way, the throat of the cleaner sits on the far back end of it and not in the middle of the cleaner. So what happens is that if it comes out, the turbines are spinning, it's scrubbing the water line, but it's not sucking air because the throat is in the back of the cleaner, and it'll return back down to the bottom of the pool, and it won't cause the pump to lose its prime. So that's one aspect of this cleaner that's unique, and it makes this cleaner highly effective in cleaning the walls up to the water line without coming out and sucking air, and you can adjust the suction accordingly to get it to climb the walls of most pools. I mentioned earlier it has a new engine that propels it and sucks debris in, and this Halo engine has like these little plastic things that flip, almost like the Hayward pool cleaner turbine, where it has those V-Flex turbines, similar but pretty much different. I don't know how to describe it any other way. They're not really closely related, but they kind of work in the same principle. And what's good about this is that it picks up large leaf debris. I've tested it. It'll pick up a 12-inch long piece of debris, no problem. It'll pick up large debris, even the size of an acorn. It has a pretty good size throat opening. Any suction cleaner is limited by the size of the throat. Any cleaner basically as a suction side cleaner has a limited throat opening because of the principle of how it works. It can't be too big, otherwise it won't be able to pull the water in at a smaller stream to get the cleaner moving. Basically, the suction of the pool turns that cleaner, whether it's gears inside, which is this particular cleaner, or maybe a diaphragm or flapper, but there has to be a certain amount of suction, and the hole can't be too big, otherwise too much water gets in there, and it's not kind of like a jet stream of water, so to speak, not technically a jet stream of water, and it's not going to move the cleaner. So this cleaner does work on a relatively low speed. If you have your pool at, if you have your low speed at 2,000 RPMs, your variable speed pump, or a medium speed, it should work effectively in cleaning the bottom of the pool. It probably won't climb the walls at that point because it doesn't have enough suction. Typically, it's going to need at least 2,600 RPMs or a medium to high speed to get enough suction to climb the pool walls up to the water line. But it does work somewhat effectively on a lower RPM. It just won't get the entire pool coverage. It's not going to sit there like a brick, like a lot of cleaners do. They require a lot of power to move. It actually is pretty effective at a low speed. So that's another plus there, besides the fact that it picks up rather large debris. Now, as far as the maintenance of this cleaner, it's very similar to the Zodiac MX8, where you have directional devices, you have drive shafts, you have these tracks on the side. All these are wear parts. And of course, one of the biggest complaints of these cleaners is that you're changing a lot of parts. Technically, yes. Technically, no. You're changing parts as much or as often as they need to be changed based on how long you run your pump, basically. They're going to wear out. Every cleaner has parts that wear out. Some cleaners have parts that wear out a lot less than these, like for instance, the Hayward pool cleaner. If you're looking for a Hayward Aquanaut pool cleaner and Phoenix, if you're looking for a cleaner that's really low maintenance, that you don't have to change parts on very often, those are your best bet because the parts last a very long time. The only thing you're changing on those cleaners are the rubber tires. And if the parts do wear out, the gears wear out in the Hayward Aquanaut, they have a lower body conversion kit. You just put that on there and you're set. What's really nice about the Polaris MAXX and ATLAS, they actually sell a kit with all the major wear parts in it. So you have the drive shafts, you have the directional devices, you have the tracks on there. Everything that you're going to need except for the turbines are in this kit to rebuild the cleaner. So after about 3 or 4 years, you just get the rebuild kit and you can rebuild this cleaner just like new. Very similar to, not quite as similar again, because the lower body conversion kit is just dropping. You put the top on, put the tires on, and you're ready to go with the Aquanaut. This one takes a little bit more time to change all the parts, but they're pretty easy because all the parts are modular and it's really easy cleaner to work on. I have a video where I have the kit and you can use this kit to rebuild the cleaner entirely. Before, the locking hoses used to be a drawback, but now they have the standard Atlas model. I believe that one sold exclusively through Pool Corp. I'm not sure if you can get it anywhere else but through them. I may be mistaken. The Atlas XT is sold at your retail outlets, and again, the Max is sold at your at Leslie's Pool Supply. The problem you're going to run into is with these locking hoses. A lot of pool pros don't like them. We don't have a huge supply of them. I have a pretty good supply of them now, and they're pretty expensive. They do last a very long time, but they can be broken easily if you install them incorrectly and break the plastic that holds them together. So I've broken a couple myself on accident when I wasn't careful with them, but they're really durable. I think the reason why Polaris likes these hoses is because they remove a lot of user error. I mean, once you lock them into place, very rarely do they suck air, if ever, and they're actually very long lasting as well. So in my opinion, they last a lot longer than your universal hoses that kind of fit together by compression, and these are much longer lasting. However, they're more expensive, and there's really no generic version of these hoses. But with the standard Max version, you get the regular universal hoses with it. So I wouldn't say that I would rule out buying this cleaner because of the locking hoses, because they do have a model that has the universal hoses with it. But the locking hoses, in my opinion, I would rather if they were just all universal hoses. It would make things easier. And I think they would sell more of these units if they just use regular hoses on them. But that's just me. I'm not in the board meeting with them telling them this. But if I were making new cleaners, a new cleaner under the Polaris brand name, I would have just used regular universal hoses because everyone's familiar with them. The pool pros love the universal hoses. I have 100 of them in my backyard, so I can switch them out whenever I need to. And these locking hoses are a little bit of a drawback, especially if you want to use a manual vacuum. The vacuum a pool with these hoses, you have to buy a special adapter for that. And that's the R06971000. R06971000 Zodiac Pool Cleaner Manual Vacuum Head Hose Adapter. And that will allow you to connect a manual vacuum head to these locking hoses. Another problem is when you're connecting it to a canister. If you have a canister, you're going to have to either use their canister or you're going to have to get this particular adapter, which I really like. And by the way, this adapter is probably great for the wall fitting also. I'm going to go over this in a second, of something that they really should change. And I've told them to change this over the years and no one's listened to me, so it hasn't been changed. But the Zodiac Pool Systems X77094, again, that's the Zodiac Pool Systems X77094 suction adapter. And this is basically, one end is a locking hose, the other end is a female, is that the male end of a standard universal hose. So one end is the locking part of the locking hoses, the other end is the male end of a suction side cleaner universal hose. This is great for canisters. So if you're using a canister that's not the Zodiac cyclonic canister, you can connect the locking hoses to that canister with this adapter. And then you can use one of your spare universal hoses that you have laying around in your backyard if you're a pool pro and connect that to the vac lock. I don't like the plastic elbow that's included for the side port vac lock. It doesn't stick in there. If the pool turns off, usually it falls out. If someone's swimming in the pool, it pops out of the wall very easily. So what I like to do is I have the Zodiac cyclonic canister. I like using that one for the MX cleaners and for the Atlas and Max. And then the end that's going into where it says filter, I'll use a universal hose on there. So what's nice about the Zodiac cyclonic canister is it comes with adapter. So you can use it for universal hoses and you can use it for these locking hoses. So what I do is I remove the adapter on the end that's going into the filter or the side port connector on the wall. And then I'll use a universal hose there. That way it stays on there, because the way the vac lock works is like a little hook in there that kind of hooks into the ridges of the universal hose. And if you're using the plastic elbow, it's going to pop out of the wall because there's nowhere for the vac lock to kind of latch on to that elbow that comes with the Atlas and Max cleaner. If you've installed these, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I think that's one of the things that they should change. I would love Zodiac to include the X77094 adapter in the box, as well as the adapter to vacuum a pool, the R0697100. Those seem very small. They should just throw them in the box with the cleaners. That way you have everything you need to connect it to your pool correctly. And I think it's something that they can do for you pretty easily. Now, lastly, the price point of this cleaner. I believe currently it's the most expensive suction side cleaner on the market right now, somewhere over $500 in most outlets. But Polaris and Zodiac does have a rebate or a sale at the beginning of every season. So keep an eye out for that. Usually I believe it's in April, and they will give you $100 off, usually or $50 to $100 off the cleaner, and that's when I would recommend purchasing it. Also, after the season, I believe in September, October, they do run a sale of some sort to kind of clear out the inventory of these cleaners. I probably wouldn't pay retail price for it if you can avoid it, but if you do need it and want it, you can definitely pay retail price for the cleaner. But they do go on sale on occasion. I think also in the middle of the season, they also run a sale to kind of promote these cleaners. So just keep an eye out for these sales. And if you get it at your supplier, you should also get a discount in the wholesale price from your supplier as well. Looking for other podcasts I've recorded, you can find those on my website, swimmingprolearning.com. On the banner, just click on the podcast icon, and there'll be a drop-down menu of other podcasts for you there. And if you're interested in my coaching program, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.